want to see Tarn Adams talk in like, what time is it? 11 hours? Not quite. Year 63 of Longdeath begins here, in this place, my stream.
Cheese for everyone!
Can't stay up that late? Boo! Stay up late. Stay up late. You know you want to. All right, welcome to Longdeath. This fortress is really old already, and we've barely even gotten started. The Fortress of Longdeath is a fortress that I'm trying to keep alive for 1,000 years. As of now, we are on year 63. This makes this fortress 57 years old? Yeah, no, 58 years old. Math. We have a tower up here that I've done nothing with. That I built one day. Can't really hang around. Boo, animal. It's fine. I'm sure you'll leave a nonsensical comment on the YouTube video for the algorithm, right? I'm working on making the wall taller because that's what you do. We have this corner tower that I forgot about yesterday, but I'll do something with it. We have this natural aqueduct where I built under a river, or creek, rather. We have these various walkways, as well as a supported floating temple over there in the bottom right. Here we have our boulder storage on the right. Up at in the middle with the peas, we have our piggy storage where we keep our pet piggies, and they are adorable. That was the day Animal got banned. You haven't been banned since... a year ago exactly. I don't know what you did on October 1st, 2019. But October 1st, 2019 was the last time you were banned from the channel, Animal. You've been banned from the channel 4 times. You've been timed out 63 times. Up at the top, we have our library on the top left. On the top right, we have our hospital right next to that. In the bottom right, we have our crafting area, bedrooms around the outside. In the center, we have our tavern. We have our trading depot just above the tavern. I can't remember if I've traded with them or not. Got any mod command comments? One. From Sergaz. He says, takes jokes to the next level. That's your only mod comment. And Pie has one too, which is probably a slice of pie. Peter, I wonder if you have a mod comment. Nope, Peter does not have a mod comment. I should make it like knows more about the ticket system than I do or something. Anyway, with the little dark gray roads are iron. I am paving pathways with iron because I have so much iron, I don't know what the hell to do with it all. Down here is that colorful thing in the bottom right is our iron storage. Right above that, we are working on gem storage. So one thing at a time. Down beneath this, we have a terracotta army made of lead soldiers, which I'm slowly filling this entire level up with because, again, we have a lot of lead. Down beneath that, we have this empty Z level where I mined a bunch of ore and boulders up. Right beneath that, we have some silver and galena ore. Also, we are like running low on boulders down here. There's no boulders left down here. That's really impressive. Although there is some here, so that's fine. We got plenty left. Screaming Robot, hello. Welcome to the stream. Always has invest on his clipboard. I guess so. Peter has a very detailed spreadsheet. I don't know if he still actively uses it, but... Yeah, no, the user can't check their own mod commands, but the streamer and the mods can check mod comments. It's mostly just to say, like, this person was banned for this once. But because, like, we have a pretty smallish stream here, we don't really have those problems. here is the full list of dwarves. I will read off all of the dwarves in the fortress, and maybe give stories on ones that are important. Most of these dwarves are multitasked, but we have a lot of stone crafters because that's how I get rid of my boulders. So we have Eutherus, Deberries, Eternal, Barons, Cryo, King, and Horny. Jellybutt the eternally chained up in the prison. Semtaxagon, the one human in the fort. Bastet, Fulco Fury, Sweet Sparkle Farts, Eric Shadowblade from YouTube, Aegis, Salantre, Slipple, Petra, Audio, Spitalier, and Pisman. Jacknerick, Jackie, Goats the Third, Scrumpet, Pablo, Dragonman, Suey, and Wave Thrash. Hulking, Screw, and Eripterus, Animal, Squug, and Rhinestone. Belag, Hobo, Max, Gate Nerd, Astrovanjos from YouTube. Great Padinsky, Lump, Hot Cup of Tea, Cheers, Jamie, Nervicious, Vuzel, Pink Fluffy, Not Goffer, and Naxards. We are pondering a lot of very large numbers. Justification, Scraping. They've been pondering a lot of medical activities recently. And dump boulders down a hole. That's not really cheating because you're just cheating yourself out of frame rate later. So that's not cheating. That's just screwing yourself over in the future. Yeah. And Semtaxagon, the human craftsman, is throwing a tantrum. Well, that's a good way to start. He's been a little moody for a while, which is unfortunate. It mostly seems like he wants to be around his family. You know, would it be acceptable to expel Semtaxagon back to the places whence he came? Because he just wants to be around his family, and he has no family in the fort, because he is the one human in the fort. But I kind of like having the human in the fort. It's just been rough recently, because, like, he got attacked by a bird, and it's, like, really messed him up. But who knows? Maybe he'll die after this, because apparently he started a fist fight. So, oh, there's blood on the ground. I don't know who he hit, but it's somebody. Oh, you attacked our expedition leader. That's not going to end well for you. I've been quite attached to our human. I'd be sad if our human dies. Like, legitimately sad. Well, I need to, something I've noticed is if they have the attend meeting thing set. 87 years old, yeah. If they have the attend meeting thing set and they go to prison, they instantly go insane. But if they've had their meeting before go to prison, also, you, like, badly injured Screw. Back of her neck is torn open and her head is dented. Did you literally just, like, fucking punch our expedition leader in the head? Like, what did you do? Grabbed you by the finger, punched her in the upper body, missed, scratches him in the head. There you go. Well, fuck, man, that's rude. Damaged your cave spider silk hood. You missed, and you calmed down. Wow. Question is, I wonder if my expedition leader is going to go report a crime after this. Good question. We'll find out. You need to have your meeting first, which I think you did. Still hits not a day over 30? Well, humans live quite a long time in Dwarf Fortress. So he might be 87 years old, but still has a lot of years left. Although so far, it doesn't look like... Okay, there you go, Screw. You're gonna go report the crime now. But I need you to have the meeting with the human first. Okay, we can't accuse the human until he's had his meeting. He's gonna chase him around for a bit, I think. How old the dwarves get? Dwarves get, it's like 150 to 170 years old before they die of old age. We haven't had anybody die of old age yet, but we do have a couple dwarves that are getting up there. We have a few in like the 150 range. We actually have like 3rd generation. Did you yell at somebody in charge? Yes, you did. Okay. We will accuse you of your crime. 1 witness. Let's see what your sentence is. 29 days in prison. Okay. Squug is gonna come. So I have a question, Chad. Do we think that the sheriff's just going to kill him? Or do you think that he's gonna successfully chain him? What do we think? 'Cause he's gonna go. He claims he's gonna go chain him up. Do you think he's actually gonna chain him up, or do you think he's just gonna kill him? No, he's just gonna chain him up. Good shit. I also like Celeste music. It checks on the seasons, actually, not on the New Year's. Seasonally. So every time the season rolls over, they check. Angry being confined. Oh, no. This might be the death of you. What is he in for? Punching my expedition leader in the face. For 29 days. Didn't kill him, but... Is there a list of questions to ask, Tarn? I have a list of questions, yes. I accepted... what's the word I'm looking for here? Questions via a spreadsheet on YouTube, but questions have been closed. I should actually private that announcement video. There's actually people still submitting questions. But is it a public list? No. I have a private list. But yeah, no, I closed the question submissions doc last night. So. Hey, Jamie. Yeah, we may need to expel our human. I mean, if there's time left at the end, Dragon, we might just, like, randomly pull questions out of chat, but what did you want to ask? Prepared yak eye roast. Oh. Yummy. Who doesn't want yak eye? Do they see it as wood? They don't want you to sell their grand craftsmanship stuff back to them. Like, how do you think you would feel if you spent years working on an item and then someone tried to sell it back to you in exchange for another one of your items? Like, wouldn't you be upset by that? Makes perfect sense to me, I think. Is that true? You must have some other item in there that's wood. I never buy grown items, and when I do, I just smash them, so. What are his favorites? I asked him a very similar question. In the previous interview I did. And he doesn't want to give favorites because that would single out specific people. But he loves the stuff that people write and create about the fortress. About the fortress? Dwarf Fortress. Also, I don't know what this area is down here. It's kind of like... It's the lower floor to the library, right? I haven't really done anything with it. It looks like a temple to me. I don't know about you guys. It just kind of ended up looking that way. Like, we've got these clay statues. Got like this weird throne and table at the front. I had like a big meeting hall or something. I don't actually know. Or maybe I should make it into like a dwarves only tavern. But I don't know. If the other tavern starts getting busy, maybe I'll make it a my dwarves only tavern. You'll pull up the wiki. Pull up the wiki! But wood can sneak into some really weird places, you know? We're out of wood. Speaking of wood. I've been trying to import charcoal to piss the elves off less, but it not been working. Can I have a dance hall? I mean, I already have a dance hall as part of the tavern. Whereas they'll just dance in the tavern. Apparently they'll also dance in certain gods' temples, but I've never actually seen that. So grown wood's okay? I mean, you can certainly have wood sneaking into weird places, so who knows? I also probably need more rock pots. Because I'm constantly selling those. Another thing that I have to keep reminding myself to do is to go to every single cabinet and throw away all of the clothing that's in the cabinets that's trash. I like the soundtrack, but it gets quiet for long periods of time. Also, Jamie, I don't know if you're wondering, but your dwarf's still alive and well. Same with yours, Blug. Yours currently, Jamie, is you've become a naturalist and you're discussing stitches, basically. You're also discussing adhesives. And you were content after discussing justification. You're sad at the unexpected death of somebody and you were grieving at the unexpected death of somebody. Probably Pilot, I'd assume. Because Pilot died. Seemed as somebody that you knew. Speaking of. No, we haven't had any new books. Yesterday we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new books. Hopefully we'll get some new books today to read. I mean, normal elves can ask to join your fortress. Why couldn't adventurers ask to join your fortress? I'm turning on the soldiers to fight with those buzzards. Another news. Why aren't you dwarves chopping down trees? Increase the priority on that. Might need to give them or give somebody else the job. Or maybe I sold all my axes. That might also be a thing that happened. Nope, definitely have axes. Also, apparently a bunch of forbidden weapons, which I'm going to unforbid now. So the humans keep bringing us these. I don't want these. Let's just get rid of these. We do not need them. Yeah, I got a couple iron spikes. just a couple. Also, we'll just melt that stuff down. A lot of stuff that needs to be melted. Yeah, right? Training weapons. Also probably don't need that many splints. Got a lot of random forbidden things. Cowhoof scepter, eh? We're in late autumn. About to hit winter. Lots of things are gonna go get dumped. If only you could use them as firewood? What, wooden weapons? To me, it's weird that the dwarves don't burn things. Like, they have all of this technology, but, like, they clearly haven't discovered fire. It would be cool if you could turn wooden training weapons into charcoal, though. Like, charcoal from wooden weapons. Or charcoal from wooden toys. Or charcoal from wooden crafts. In and get wrecked? I mean, or cats, or dogs, or any other animals. I actually get a little tired of people asking me why I'm not using danger rooms. I'm like, you haven't played Dwarf Fortress in a while, have you? You want to kill all your dwarves? Yeah, that's a really good way to do that. You know, this is another question that I get relatively often that confuses me, is when people ask if they would ever look into converting Dwarf Fortress into a 3D game. It's like, it's already 3D. And the fact that it's ASCII and simple art is the reason why it's so complicated. The iron bolt strikes the buzzard in the left upper leg, and the severed part sails off in an arc, and the buzzard falls over. Excellent. Yeah, no, danger rooms just kill your dwarves. Like, there is one kind of pseudo-danger room that works, although works is, like, relative. You can sort of get danger rooms to work if you, working in 3D graphics? I mean, maybe. Let's see if you can go do this for me. Might need to make more axes. Yeah, we'll... With poorly crafted featherwood training spears. You can also train doctors. Yeah, that's what they're good for, is they're good for doctor training now. But I find guild halls are pretty good for training doctors these days. Turn them off, because I know for a fact I have military dwarves that can fell trees. Anyway, focusing too much on the tree felling problem. Happens every so often. But where was I going with this? Right, you can make like halfway drowning rooms. Like if you fill a room up with like 6 of 7 layers worth of water, they won't drown and will get really fucking good at swimming. Which in turn trains their strength. So that's kind of a thing you can do that still works, is like partially flooding a room and then locking them in there. But you have to realize then they'll be drinking a lot of water, which they're not too thrilled about generally, so you kind of come out the other end with really mad dwarves. But if that's like something that you're willing to do, then meh. Also, Symptaxicon is out of prison. Is utterly harrowed by the nightmare that is his tragic life. So what do we do with this human? Has anybody here seen the game Songs of Conquest? Because that's literally just Might and Magic. Let me grab it for you for a second. As this is the Epic exclusive that I'm looking forward to. Although they did state that the only reason they were able to make the game and stay independent is because they took the Epic deal. But you know, it's fine. I want to play it regardless. That's one of the few games that I'm like, yep. Like I remember seeing like 10 seconds of footage of it and going, yep, I need that. Give that to me right now. Pretty pixel art, but it's just Might of Magic. Gimme. So you don't know what you're referring to? Oh, before 3D fort mode wasn't even a thing. Adventure mode was the first thing to have 3D, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the order that came in. I wasn't really paying too much attention to the game at the time. I'd have to research that. You know what's something I have thought about doing, though? I have genuinely... Like, I know I have people asking me if I'm going to do tutorials and other things like that, but, like, the thing that I have genuinely thought about that I think might actually be interesting would be if I decided to tackle reviewing Dwarf Fortress. I know a lot of, like, big YouTubers have done that, and there's a lot of videos that have a buttload of views that are like, it's a review of Dwarf Fortress, and then it's not actually a very good review of Dwarf Fortress. But I'm not entirely certain anybody wants to watch a 3-hour review of a video game. Three is hands down the best Might and Magic game. Can anybody chop down those trees yet? Nope. Oh, yeah, there you go. Gate nerds hacking down with trees for me. Excellent. Part 1 of many. Reviewing Dwarf Fortress. Part 1 of 72. And then link to the 3-hour one from it. Yeah, I mean, realistically, I should probably wait for the Steam version, right? Like a Russian doll. And then in there will be one frame that has a embedded link in the video that links to another video. Now, the Russian doll is the, I'm keeping this fortress alive for 1,000 years, and we are 21 days in, and 21 days in, and we are 6% done. Almost. 5.9% done. 5.8-ish. So you do the math. And, like, I made the QR code in Dwarf Fortress. So you, like... It's like one frame where I shoot past the Z level where the QR code is like drawn in DF. I saw like a bazillion ads for that show and got super sick of the trailer and never watched it. Warm Shadow. I'm sure it's pretty good. I like this. Discuss individual happiness. Objects and properties. And researching. Our youngest dwarf in the fort is 7 months old. Fortunately, her older brother is dead. He was able to grow up, though. So there is that. I think that there's, like, a happy level of advertising where you, like, make somebody aware of a thing without making them sick of it before they've seen it. I never want to watch Jack Ryan. Never will watch Jack Ryan because of how many fucking ads I've seen for Jack Ryan. That being said, The Boys is pretty great, and I've seen a lot of ads for The Boys, so I don't know. In what movie? You avoid trailers like the plague? Yeah. I haven't seen any trailers of the new Dune, but I really want to see that movie. And please don't fuck it up. Please don't fuck it up. Please don't fuck it up. Please don't fuck. They're gonna fuck it up. It's that weird superhero show? Yeah! It's the show where the superheroes are assholes. Based on the comics book series about superheroes that are assholes. Which is not the only comic book series about superheroes that are assholes. And there are better comic book series about superheroes that are assholes. And I've got a human craftsman that is trying to attend a meeting again. Who's going to go to prison for a third... Are you going to go punch a pig? You punched a pig! Piggy did nothing wrong. Why are you punching Piggy? Piggy doesn't deserve that. Please watch. You already paid for them. Here's the thing about Amazon Prime, and I'm starting to feel this way about Amazon Prime originals. Netflix is... Okay, so Netflix. Netflix is kind of like the... It's good enough. So all the movies up there have had enough money thrown at them that they're good enough. All of the shows that they put up there have had enough money thrown at them that they're good enough. And their documentary and true crime teams are actually kind of way better than they have any right to be. But, like, their shows, they're good enough, generally. Amazon is, like, 2 points below that. Where it's like, they're not really good enough, but you've already paid for them, and the writing is generally okay. So, like, It's like if Amazon Prime just existed on its own as a video streaming service, it wouldn't be worth it. Even remotely, it wouldn't be even remotely close to worth it. But because it exists as a thing that I've already paid for as part of another thing, kind of worth it. If that makes sense. Not thrusted by anyone? Oh, they do lots of thrusting in that show. Animal. Especially season 2. Jesus Christ. Is good enough better than worse than decent? It's good enough that I don't cancel my subscription. How's that? Good enough means I don't cancel it. And then every now and again there's a gem that pops up on Netflix, you know, like I will recommend anybody, and I mean anybody who's even remotely interested in the Mafia, watch the documentary series that they put out on the Mafia, Fear City. Fucking great. Absolutely awesome. Like, fascinating little documentary series. Like, obviously, I didn't live through that stuff, so it's fascinating to watch. And they put out shows like that often enough that it's, like, genuinely worth keeping around. And then there's shows like Connections, which I think is designed for, like, preteens, but is great when I'm baked out of my mind. which is just like, here's some science stuff explained like you're 5. I'm not sure what demographic they're targeting with that show. It's like either they're targeting small children or stoners. I think that they're aware of that. So thus they get me. I have the brain of a small child, and I am not always sober. I don't know. The other service that I will keep around forever is Curiosity Stream. Like, I don't know. I just like having access to 1,000,000,001 documentaries. A statue just amused you? Only just? I will say this. Underground 6 was so bad I almost unsubscribed from Netflix. Or 6 Underground? Whatever the hell that movie was called. That movie was offensively terrible. Like, genuinely offensively horrible. Like, that movie was bad enough it made me like the actors in it less. And I like a lot of the actors in that movie. Which was the relatively recently released Michael Bay movie that's exclusive to Netflix. It's so fucking bad. Holy shit. Like, that movie was almost unwatchably terrible. And the worst part about it is the way that movie ends. Like, the whole movie is just, like, a glorification of senseless violence for the sake of, fuck yeah, America! Although they do drive a sports car through the Vatican, which is pretty entertaining. Like, there's some well-choreographed scenes in that thing, but God, that movie is horrible. Absolutely fucking horrible. Moral of the story is do not watch Underground 6. 6 Underground? Whatever it's called. The sad bit is like, there was a point in my life where I actually really liked... I'm glad I named that lever. I remember what it is now. I actually really liked Michael Bay at one point in my life. He did some good shit in the past, you know? I like some of Michael Bay's older stuff. Bad Boys? Fucking good movie. Bad Boys 2? Fucking good movie. All right, so I had a soap industry at one point. Then I kind of just forgot about it. So I'm going to make a new soap industry. Because I kind of need it. Apparently I don't have an empty bucket. Iron bucket. 1. Make me an iron bucket. Like I said, it's the documentaries and stuff that keeps me going. It's the documentary stuff that keeps me going. Like, all the true crime stuff that they put up there is like, even the not so good stuff is still my exact breed of garbage. And then every now and again I get a show like Mindhunters, which is like, yep, that was a fucking great show. Every now and again. Every now and again we get like the first season of Stranger Things, right? Which was great. Second and third season, First season was amazing. It was fantastic. So every now and again, you get something that's really good on Netflix. But, you know, like, that's just kind of how it's going to be, I think. Like, for every, like, The Witcher. Is The Witcher the best show ever made? Absolutely not. But, man, I would definitely sit down and watch another Monster of the Week featuring your favorite white-haired Witcher, Geralt of Rivia, running around stabbing shit. I will totally watch another season of that if they make it. And I think they are. So, fingers crossed that that gets made. Random clothing everywhere. Can we put this stuff away, guys? Mind Quad? I don't know what Mind Quad is. So. Alright, let's make this out of something fancy, because I have it. We'll make it out of silver bars. Have I watched Dark? I'm visually impaired, and I tried watching Dark, but the subtitles are just way too goddamn fast. And the English dub is dumb. I don't like the English dub. So I want to, but it's... In order for me to actually watch Dark, it would require me to watch every episode twice, probably. I'd have to watch it once and read all the subtitles and not actually watch the show, and then watch it again, actually seeing what's happening. Because my problem, and this is a problem I've had with anime over the years too, is I miss things in shows. The English dub grates on you? It's the lip syncing. Like, the lip syncing genuinely annoys me over time. And it's the same problem I have with anime, right? If I don't like the dub, I can't really watch it most of the time because the lips, well, not necessarily the lips, but like if I'm watching Japanese, I will miss what's going on in the actual scene because all I can see is the text. And even then, half the time the text moves faster than I can actually keep up with. Like, a movie that I watched, which I loved, by the way, was Parasite. I'm not going to spoil Parasite, but there's a sequence at the end where a lot of stuff happens all at once. I missed most of that. Like, I genuinely had no idea what happened when I watched it in the theaters. Then got a perfectly legitimate copy from our friends in Sweden afterwards and rewatched it at home later that night and watched that whole scene again because I missed most of what happened at the end of that movie because it was either read subtitles or watch the movie. That's not what I want you to do. Or that. What am I doing? I want you to make a lie. And yeah, that's it. From Sweden, yeah. Perfectly legitimate legal copy from Sweden. Where else do you get movies legitimately for free without paying for them legally? Anyway, the Intergalactic Swedish Library, yes. Nakano has such an a good yeah, no, there's a lot of really good anime dubs out there, and then there's also a lot of really bad anime dubs that make it better, you know, like Cowboy Bebop. It's a really bad dub, but I would argue it improves it in some way. I need a soap. I guess ash. Stockpile? Let's make ash 10. So, you know, it's the reason I don't watch much anime. Because there's very few anime that I actually enjoy. And I have to really like it to force myself through that. Alright, now I need someone else on soap making. Cryo, do you want to make... you've got a lot of jobs. Eric, do you want to make us some soap? It's not something we're going to do super often, so it doesn't matter too much. American Dad, not Family Guy? Same thing. Come on. Let's be honest here. American Dad ended at least. I've heard, realistically, I've heard good things about American Dad. That is a horrifyingly good Halloween statue. So, Stone posted a screenshot of a statue that was made in his game of Dwarf Fortress on my Discord, and it reads, "This is a claystone statue of the Fated. On the item is an image of the Fated, the deity of death, depicted as a male dwarf in claystone by Zan. The Fated is screaming." Happy Spook Month, I guess. Even to those of you who don't celebrate, happy Spook Month. Speaking of Spook Month, I bought Fear, so we'll be streaming that. Once I'm gonna try and finish Stalker. Once we're done kind of finishing the end of Stalker, we're gonna do some Fear. All right, they finished that. Lie. Whoops. Woo! What's up, Harry? Speaking of Spook Month, we have a new emote, which is a scared dwarf. Which is good. We had to retire my saluting panda, but I'm quite happy with it. Once someone comes over here and starts making lie, then I can make soap. So something else that I got a lot in questions for Tarn is this. Top right of the screen, right? Right above where the Z level counter is. There's a little half moon, right? That shows that the moon is, well, now it's a full moon, but it's a half moon. And now it's a 0, which depicts a full moon, implying that somewhere in the world, if there are were creatures, there is, well, were creatures doing were creature things. Apparently, very few people know that, because out of the 260 odd questions that I had submitted, I had 11 asking about why there was a moon in the new UI. I think that really speaks to how poorly explained the UX for DF is. Also, the human merchants from Bastille Smack have arrived with a yearly tribute. How kind of the humans to bring us gifts once again for our totally legitimate business of not stabbing things to death when they, in exchange for goods and services. The humans from the Confederacy of Sport. Let's see what group of alchemy have brought us on the spring of the year 64. 1 orthoclase ini. Ooh. An instrument. 1 cherry wood barrel and 25 bilberry wine. Okay, this might actually be my favorite bit of gifts that we've gotten. An orthoclase instrument and a barrel of wine. Like, now that's how you make dwarves happy. You give them a musical instrument and a barrel of wine. It's certainly better than, like, a rock. Like, what did you bring us? A marble boulder! You've seen it before, but you thought it was one of those things that the classic weird HUD things from, like, the old roguelikes. Yeah, no, I mean, totally, right? I mean, it's something that, like, it was one of the first things I noticed when I started playing DF. But, like, I mentioned it earlier today, and Ovsalot had never noticed it, and Ovsalot knows more about Dwarf Fortress than most people. Eripterus, hello. How you doing? Let me know if you got it, Stone, or I'll screenshot it for you. You have it? Gotcha. I need to figure out what an innie is. An I. There it is. Well, it's not very valuable. This is an orthoclase innie. It's a mid-size, handheld, cylindrical bore stone wind instrument. Okay. The musician blows across a hole in the side, and the musician selects the pitch by achieving higher and higher harmonics. Okay. It can also stop holes. Okay, so it's like you blow into the side of it. So it's kind of like I guess like a glass bottle that like you blow into the top of it and it goes whoop, but like it also has holes so you can change the pitch. That's interesting. The instrument has a nearly 4-octave range from mid-low to very high pitch. At all pitches, the instrument has a sharp, fluid timbre. Sounds horrendous. And then it has 2 registers, and the low register has a full, pure, wavering timbre. The high register begins at a medium-high pitch and has an eerie, slicing timbre. So it's like an ocarina that makes your eardrums want to burst. It's like a chunky flute, which is basically an ocarina. I like that, though. Chunky flute. Hey, Jack Nurick, how we do? It's good to see you. Well, lovely little instrument. I'm sure it'll get moved into the tavern in no time. And strap, inhuman? Right. Also, Jack Nurick, if you're wondering, Jack Nurick III is still one of our lead brewers. Is interested after being near a fine furnace. Has almost no jobs because was having mental problems and is now quite happy with his life. And just kind of exists. Does what he can. Didn't feel anything after being unable to acquire anything. Was bored after a lack of abstract thinking, but relatively happy. He was exhilarated remembering performing, though. Big fan of performing. Generally brews all of our drinks for us. Hardworking dwarf. Also, Simtaxagon the human doesn't have much time left, unfortunately. Our only human in the fort lost it in recent years. I blame age. You know, he's getting up there. He's sitting at the ripe old age of 88 years old. I wonder if Rara, his friend, is going to continue coming back once a year to visit. Just vibing, as you do. Hopefully the Twitch ads aren't too bad today. I've heard they've gotten worse. You know, as I've said before, if I could just, like, push a button and turn off ads on Twitch for everybody, I would. I don't care about the, like, $120 I get a year. This particular person came to the tavern once a year and asked to join the fortress. Every year for about 25 years. And we eventually just said, you're persistent. And said yes. The other dwarf that I have who's kind of a problem, well, the dwarf that I have who's kind of a problem is Hobo. Wherever he's at. The other one, Pilot, passed away in the last stream. But where is Hobo? There you are. Hobo is no longer depressed at all. Whoa. Hobo was purple depressed. He was like wandering around aimlessly for a while and constantly sinking into depression. Huh. I try to focus on the practical side of the matter. He's just been training for like years. Wow. He snapped back. We've had a few dwarves do this now. Go from like being beyond help to just fine. Interesting. Also check out the... I don't think I've seen this dance pattern. What are we dancing, dwarves? The Satin of Rhyming. is a form of music used for entertainment originating in the ignited creation. The rules for the form are applied by composers to produce individual pieces of music which can be performed by a singer that recites nonsensical words and sounds while the music is played on a Keurig and up to 6 lar. I've seen this one before, but I don't think I've seen them dancing in that particular pattern. That's interesting. Look at that. Kind of like a fishhook shape. Like an L. Nonsensical sounds, yes. Like most of the experimental jazz I listen to. Yeah, no, we get tribute twice a year from the Confederacy of Sport and whatever the other one was. Dwarves invented mumble rap. I'm pretty sure the goblins invented mumble rap because the goblins are the ones that do what is described basically as like, what if mumble rap was throat singing? Although, if you want if you like mumble rap, just wait until you get to mumble rock. Which I will give you right there. Have fun. Great song. Wonderful song. Fantastic band, too. Sweden does good work. What? So, I don't know if anybody here can explain this to me. And I've had some people on YouTube try and explain it, too. Every single year, okay, the elves show up and put their stuff down on... like on the ground, on the trading depot, right? And immediately I have feather tree egg yolks available to trade back to them. Are they just covered in feather tree egg yolks so that when they arrive, it just goes everywhere? Like, what? I don't understand. What the It really is a mystery. How can a tree... I just... Pardon me while I vomit. You know, there's a lot of weird, disturbing things in Dwarf Fortress. I genuinely think that the fact that feather trees lay eggs is one of the most disturbing things. But this is very important, so if you give me a moment, I have to recite a tale from the Discord. A young duckling barked at dogs until they get it. Bears, what are bears? Bears are... trolls in space can breathe somehow. Oxygen, meat, carbon. There you go. You're welcome. Go put words in on my Discord to make me read nonsensical sentences. Over an hour to get a drug test done? Man, if I had to get a drug test done. You know, I kind of wonder about that, actually, because, like, I get blood tests done every 3 months now, right? And when they were testing me, like taking my blood samples and everything, they're just, like, listing off all these things. They're like, have you consumed this recently, this recently, this recently? Have you consumed weed recently? I'm like, yes. It's one of those, like, man, I'm glad I don't need to do drug tests. Oh, yeah, no, totally. Like, plants multiplying isn't weird to me. It's the concept of a plant laying an egg that's weird to me. Air Force being attacked by gray langurs? Yeah, that'll happen. I'm sure these elves will love to take my used clothing, right? Kind of wish I could expand these bins in this screen. Anybody else looking forward to the ability to just, like, scroll through this? Because I so fucking am. So goddamn ready. all this random ass sand I've got from all of these random places. Oh, I have a bunch of pig's milk. I should make that into cheese. Yeah, we'll sell a cow hoof scepter. I think that's an artifact, but whatever. It's not one that I care about. It's just fruit, though? Yes, but fruit doesn't have a yolk. "12 Kingdoms" has that, and people are born out of those eggs? I don't know what you're talking about. Sam Taxagon, our human, has been found dead and is being carried away by Cheers Jamie. Can I get a pour one out for Sam Taxagon? The only human ever to have lived in long death. The end of an era has begun, and a new era shall take its place. It's a pity that you had a rough end, but you will be missed. Oh yeah, I guess we could think of him as kind of like a coconut. I don't know. Almost typed crypt egg. I mean, eggs on the brain. Let's engrave an image of Sem Taxagon. Let's see what they come up with. I'm sure the dwarves will do good work. Coconuts intimidate you? I once opened a coconut with a power drill. It worked quite well. Totally not dangerous? No, it was definitely not dangerous. It wasn't safe either, but... Engraved on the wall is an image of Sem Taxagon, the human, in nice, by Eternal. Sem Taxagon is raising a nice figurine. The artwork relates to the masterful nice figurine created by the human Sem Taxagon for the eternal venture of time at Longdeath in the early winter of 47, which we promptly probably gave away for free to the humans, but you know. If you want to order Chinese food or not, here's my experience with ordering Chinese food. It's a great idea. For the first 5 minutes you have the Chinese food. And then after that, you realize very quickly that it was just an awful idea. And why did you do that? And oh god, I feel like trash now. Please fucking kill me. That's generally my experience with Chinese food. Need to make cheese to empty out these buckets. Or pots, rather. Just make 10 iron buckets. I don't know. My problem with ordering Chinese food is you always order too much, and that stuff doesn't really keep all that well, and so you don't really want to, you know, have 2-day-old leftover Chinese food. Like, you have a sudden craving for Chinese food. I mean, your name's the last vegan. I don't know that much about vegan, but I know a decent amount about Chinese food. There isn't a lot of vegan Chinese food. I don't know if you're ready to lose your superhero powers yet. I guess. I don't know. To me, all of the Chinese food worth getting is like octopus or pork. So I don't know. When you start hearing tweeting. Dude, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it kind of depends. Maybe if you know the particular shop, maybe they have what you're looking for, but still. We're on job cancellations, so we see why they're canceling. So once the jobs actually get ordered to go. First, I'm waiting on Les Squig to finish discussing adhesives to go do his gerb. Okay. And an anime adaptation. I mean, everything has an anime adaptation in 2020. Like, why doesn't Dwarf Fortress have an anime adaptation yet? I think you just made someone realize that they sinned. Be like, you're a horrible person. Although you may have helped fix a craving for Chinese food. Realized I need to get rid of that. Then there's my little sister who is vegan but will like cheat. So she's vegan, but then, like, she'll go to a restaurant and just eat a bunch of lamb. Just like, eh. I mean, I'd watch it. It's just like I've thrown around the idea. It's like, if I had unlimited money, I would straight up just hire an animator to animate clips in my stream where I tell short stories about DF. Because I have a pretty good idea of how much animating that stuff costs, right? You know what, fuck it. We won't trade with the elves. I don't feel like trading right now. But I have a pretty good idea of how much, like, 2-minute animations for YouTube cost. I know I can't afford it. Without, like, seriously ripping somebody off. But if I ever had unlimited money, I would hire an animator to animate short chunks of my stream. It'd be great. It'd be so bad. I mean, I could do it in, like, MS Paint with stick figures, but, like, you know, that would be about the extent of it. I also I don't have time to do other things. That's the real problem. Are inexpensive in Thailand? I mean, all of my animations were done by a guy in Russia. It was still expensive. Obviously not, like, Silicon Valley expensive, but still expensive. Like, if you want to see the animations that he did for me, just don't actually give me money. But if you type in the chat, cheer, and then a bunch of numbers, it'll show you the cheer emote for that particular number. Well, crypt cheer specifically. So crypt cheer, and then a bunch of numbers. You'll see the animations for the different cheer emotes, and they're, like, way better than they have any right to be. That was it's more money than I'm really willing to spend on things at my current pay grade. All right, Manager Squug. I really need you to actually, like, not just discuss individual happiness and go do your job. My human died, Catullus, and I'm sad. Aside from that, I'm working on making some soap. There you go. You dingbat. We're going to have Tarn Adams on in a couple hours. It's 12:14, and we'll have him on at 3 p.m. So you haven't missed much, really. You missed the pre-show. We'll be making a second batch of fudge, so you can torture me more. I know how to make fudge. Like, I could just fucking make my own fudge, but I just shouldn't. Meanwhile, Goats is over here making cheese. I wonder what you think of your cheese-making job. Hope you like it. Making much in the way of pig cheese, because we have lots of pig milk, so. A rotor? A rotor on what? At that time? There will be a VOD up on YouTube probably later tonight if you missed the actual live session, so. Oh, okay. When someone says rotor, I think airplane, not car. Store item in hospital. Excellent. Ash. 10. Let's make 10 more ash. Oh, you got hit by a Titan. What kind of Titan? Did you post a screenshot? I can't read it. The text too small. The Thunder Titan, Oslim Gospom Stusmex has come. An enormous three-eyed petrosaur. Yeah, those can fly. It has long straight horns and it has a regal bearing. Its moss green scales are round and overlapping. Fuck that. Beware its fire. Yeah, congratulations, you're dead. Is how that reads. Screenshot posted by Stone on my Discord in the DF room. If you'd like to join the Discord, you can do that there. I also rewatched the no clip video about Dwarf Fortress last night. It's grown on me. I like it more. I wasn't super thrilled on it initially because I was really hoping for something a little bit more interesting, I guess, instead of more just like Dwarf Fortress primer for newbies. But I guess I kind of went into it with expectations that were a little bit, you know, more than I was actually going to get. That was a really loud bang outside. Something just exploded. Gotta love living in the good side of town. All right, let's turn on auto loom again. Because I've had auto loom off for a while. There they go, dancing again. If we've had any new books. True animal diets and a treatise on animal societies. Oh shit, Bastet wrote a book. It's a one-page manual entitled A Treatise on Animal Societies, authored by Animal. Oh, never mind. Okay, so Bastet bound it. It concerns the social behavior of creatures. It's amateurish. Getting there. You know, someone's escaped ghost is much scarier than someone's escaped goat. But that's pretty great. I mean, you may have fixed somebody's cravings for Chinese food, which is a win-win. Although I don't really eat takeout these days. I ate takeout last week twice. For the first time since March. And the reason was my little sister was in town, and she lives out in Quebec, and I'm just taking her word for it. She claims they have no good sushi in Quebec, so we ate sushi twice. Although you can't really do better for sushi than, like, the West Coast. Unless you're, like, in Japan. That's Ash. Big soap. Much more interested in doing other things, but you know what? That's fine. I don't mind. Sometimes you get pizza. Yeah, pizza's like a thing I don't think I'm going to do very much anymore. Like, I don't miss pizza. I don't. Like, I would, you'd think that I would, but I really don't. Or pizza is good. You know, I've had Chicago-style pizza a couple times. I don't like it. I'm much more of a, like, thin crust, flat pizza. Like, the 3-4 times I've had, like, Chicago-style pizza, I feel disgusting afterwards. Like, I don't know. I don't like it. It's not for me. Pizza's like my fuck it, I'm hungry food. Yeah, I mean, I'm in a unique situation with it, right? Because, like, I look at it as, like, I have to look at it from the point of view of somebody who's a type 1 diabetic. So I have to look at that and go, okay, how many carbs is that? Realistically, it's a fucking shoe toss. Like, I have no idea. And it's one of those issues where if I get it right, I don't want to die afterwards. If I get it wrong, I want to die afterwards. Or if I get it wrong in the other direction, I might literally die afterwards. And it's like, I have this decision between eat pizza and not have to go through that, or roll the fucking dice. And I guess if I'm really hungry, maybe I'll do it. But no dying is the rule. Roger. Speaking of no dying, streamer needs to take a leak. I'll be right back. They might get distracted by them for a bit if you lock the door, though. Well, obviously, you'd get hospitalized for eating bread because bread makes you fat. Bread makes you fat! But no, in all seriousness, yeah, I mean, I could hospitalize myself if I eat a whole loaf of bread. It's actually kind of funny. I was talking to a nurse on the phone a couple of weeks ago now. A lot of people outside. What the shit? Couple of weeks ago now. And she was essentially just asking me, like, you know, all the basic questions and trying to figure out how I was doing. And then was like, have you been hospitalized yet? Like, what do you mean? She's like, well, most recently diagnosed type 1 diabetics get hospitalized 2 or 3 times in the first year. I'm like, what? Why? The humans have arrived with us to trade, and I'm assuming the other humans are also going to arrive with us here to trade. Looks like the elves were very kind and left their mucus, I mean, tree shit on the thing. Gonna get rid of everything that's just chilling here. I don't need all of this shit. Okay. Sell them a bunch of plants. Did I see what? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not using cabbage seeds, any of this stuff, really. It just said someone got married. Oh, no, I did not see that. Hold on, I'll look after I get out of this menu. Give me a mo. Give me un momente, please. Might as well sell a bunch of blocks. Probably also just sell them a butt ton of cloth. Actually, no, I can't. We good on that regard. All right. The naturalist Hot Cup of Tea and the planter Suey have married. Congratulations. Aww. Hot Cup of Tea and Suey got married. How cute. Which is adorable because Suey was getting really, really depressed for a bit there. Like, actually had like a tremendous stress is placed on her, I think was the recent description. Where the fuck is Suey? There you are, your planter. She was actually like a down flashing red arrow for a bit, and she got into a fight with somebody, which was pretty bad. But like, it's funny because the main issue with her stress was that she hadn't had a lover for so long. 46 years old, born in the year 18, in this fort, now is married. Congratulations, Suey. And every single one of her siblings are dead. Well, and... Okay, her mother is still alive. Gen 2 does not begin. Gen 2 has begunneth, actually. Gen 2 began with Narvicius, who was currently ashamed due to wearing old clothes. I need to make more clothes. Yeah, who had their entire extended families in the fortress. Dragonman and Wave Thrash were both born in this fortress with different parents, obviously. They got married, and... yeah, like their grandparents are in the fortress, their aunts are in the fortress, uncles in the fortress. And you are what? 10 years old. Leave processed plants on. It's Farmer's Workshop. I had another one here. I'm not sure what happened to it, but... before it grows? Yeah, and the plot lines thicken, and The family trees condense. It's a good time. Stone's Titan? It breathes fire. I think it's just made of Titan things. Flesh things, I think? Yeah, it's just an enormous three-eyed petrosaur. 3 long, straight horns, which is fun because it can gore you. And here come the other humans, as well as the... I was wondering where they were, as well as the royal treasurer. They've arrived to trade. Also, something else that's kind of fun that's happening in this fortress, which I've talked about a couple times over the past few weeks, but we have this dwarf, right? Lump, who is in love with this dwarf, Mistum, who's not in the fortress. Mistum is the outpost liaison who comes by once a year, which is kind of awesome. Also, apparently Max is your apprentice. That's interesting. Fascinating. Yeah, I've never seen it happen, but it is cute. The Embraced Roses. What god is that? We have a god of lust? Ingush the Embraced Roses is a deity of the ignited creation. Most often takes the form of a male dwarf and is associated with lust. Aight. Yeah, this is the popular one. The god of jewels and wealth. Almost as popular as the god of the earth. Oddly enough, we don't have a god of striking. My name is Desley. I am I'm a member of the Merchants Guild. Let me extend my greetings to your people. There is much to discuss. I assume our yearly tribute made it to you well. The world is the same as ever. What requests do you have of our merchants? Still the same things I always request. All of the metal. And charcoal. We finalized the import agreement. Let's discuss what we were willing to offer you for your Craftsdorf ship. We finalized the export agreement. Okay, well, they really want cheese for some reason. They really want scepters for some reason. On behalf of the Merchants Guild, let me bid farewell to you and your stout dwarf. And they all arrive to unload their goods. I need to sneeze. I think I muted the mic in time. So for the actual interview, I'm just going to...
for everyone!
Yes. What I'm actually going to do for the interview is I'm just going to do what I did last time. So I'm just going to generate a long history, large world in the background so that we have some sort of background footage going on. And I'll have chat up on this stream. Because that seemed to work last time pretty well. Like, we don't really, need a ton of footage going on, right? Like, it just kind of works that way. Give me your parchment, because I'm not actually making... Should I try and make beehives? 2.5 hours from now. I'm gonna buy their cheese because they brought cheese. Ba-da-ba-bum-ba-ba-da-bum. Yeah. Not enough? Yeah, it's just. And we'll trade with these guys who always bring more. Mostly just gonna buy the charcoal from you. Because it's what I actually want. And the electrum. Electrum's nice. And all of the parchment sheets. I'm sure that's not actually a mortar. But I want to buy it because it's called a mortar. They have an instrument called a mortar. And I can't be the only person who's very interested in what a mortar is. Can't be. Spelled how it's sound. You know what? Hold on. It'd be much quicker if I just go this way. Unless it's not an instrument. Probably, but I bought it. Then it would be in tools, I would assume, right? Not like I don't have a lot of tools. I've got a lot of choirs. I'm having this realization. I've got a lot of choirs. There you go. That's it. Well crafted. It is encircled with bands of rectangular diary cabochons. Yeah. I don't know what that is. One does not simply walk into mortar. I mean, you could. But it might hurt your ears. I didn't buy a pestle. I need to Google this. I've never heard of this. I'm probably well aware of what it is. Mortar and pestle. Okay, so it's like for... Okay, I know exactly what that is. Interesting. I did not know that's what it was called. You learn something every day. I used to actually have one of those for making tea. Oh, rather, my ex owned one for making tea. Do, 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 do. All right, so how many anvils do I have? 52. Fucking hell. Melt metal object 100. I got lots of shit I gotta melt. Tons of shit I gotta melt. Speaking of shit I gotta melt. Well, not melt, but stuff I gotta do. Need to uncancel that one that I suspended. Well, I mean, I could just do that from this screen. But yeah, no, Stone, you've basically got my worst nightmare, because this fortress is very vulnerable to flying fire creatures. So, because it literally is just open. Although, part of me kind of hopes that that happens and we have some near scrapes. I think that would be fun, but we'll see. Did I make 2 tunics? God damn it. Shirt, tunic, dress, vest, trousers, cloak, glove, mitten, shoe, and socks. Oh, I did socks twice. With rock and metal? Can wooden workshops catch fire? You just, if a workshop needs to be made out of metal or a non-flammable item, you just can't make it out of a flammable item. Although that would be hilarious. Although now I'm immediately thinking about how I could weaponize that. You know, it's like if you made a, like, let's just say a forge out of a flammable material and it catches fire. I wonder if you could, like, use that to trigger traps. It's like suicide bomber dwarves, kind of. Just, like, put it in the middle of, like, a stockpile of alcohol and just tell somebody to go forge something during a siege. And it just all starts blowing up. Huh. That's all I'm gonna say is, huh. But, most of my forges are made out of, all of the forge stuff down here is made out of, at the very least, stone. It's time for a test. I mean, you'd have to mod the game to do that. But I think you could do that. Because it was cheaper and you still enjoy it. So as somebody who used to clean McDonald's for 8 years, on the night shift as maintenance, I can't. Donald. Pretty sure fire only comes from dangerous beasts and dangerous baddies and lava. Please. Come on. Lava causes fire. I mean, I don't know how the game would react. I mean, I'm sure there are some raws somewhere that would let you make workshops out of material that would cause them to get broken when you use them, but I don't know if they would even catch fire. Like, they might just break, you know? Which is totally a legitimate thing that can happen. Stuff can just break. Fair enough. And I'm sure that that comes with its own line of nightmares, but the difference is the hospitals try to help people. I used to tell my coworkers at McDonald's, don't worry if you hate your customers, because they're all going to die anyway if they keep eating the food. They're just committing slow self-suicide. It's not that bad, but don't eat the ice cream. Because that is that bad. Cases. Slow aside. Yeah! Burger. Also, hey, Burger. What's up, man? Bet you that the dwarves would make really good burgers. You know what's my only sadness for Dwarf Fortress that I really wish could be a feature but never would be? Imagine if Dwarf Fortress generated pictures for everything and it could give you food that was as detailed as the Monster Hunter food. Like, that's my one, like, dream for Dwarf Fortress that will literally never happen. Like, the images in my head of the finely minced food is just like, it would either be amazing or look absolutely disgusting. One of the two, Burger, and there would be no in between. There'd be absolutely no middle ground there. Also, Burger, since you don't have a subscription to the channel currently, we have new emote. I want to show it to you. Good. There would be no in between. Yeah, it would either look delicious or just be like, that's just a brain in a bowl. Or it's like, that's a fucky looking omelet. That's not an omelet. Dwarven fine dining. A brain in a bowl. Also Chinese fine dining. They eat brains, right? I'm pretty sure I've seen monkey brain on the menu at this one Chinese place. I sold all of my clothing, or all of my cloth rather, because I had like 4,000 of it, and it was all masterwork quality, so we're trying to replenish that. Needs melt designated item. I have a shit. There's no way you guys worked through all of that already. My God, they kind of did. Okay, no, you didn't. I don't know what that is, but if it's a good thing that's worth your money, then do it. I mean, I dropped $70 on the Risk of Rain 2 soundtrack. On vinyl. You know, I'm kind of hoping that my monitors... Ooh. You know? Okay, hold on a second. We have an improvement on the monitors. For those of you who don't know, I ordered 2 monitors, right? So I can upgrade to the 3-monitor club and replace this fucking monitor, which is right in front of me, and keep this one. But replace this monitor, which doesn't know what black is anymore and thinks black is red. I've ordered 2 of them. They were supposed to arrive Tuesday. They didn't. Tuesday by 8 p.m. And after 8 p.m., I got an email saying, sorry that your order is late, yada yada, you can get a refund on the 1st. And then I looked at the order on the page, and it said that it was arriving either on the 30th or the 1st, before 8 p.m. Now, instead of just saying arriving between the 30th and the 1st, it says it's out for delivery, and it has a little arriving today thing, and the bar is half full, right? I'm almost willing to bet money it's going to arrive while I'm interviewing Tarn. If it arrives at all, it's going to arrive during that, like, 1-hour window. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I just get to leave Tarn alone with chat for 5 minutes while I go and get a package. I'll warn him at the beginning. God, I hope it arrives. I don't want to have to fucking go around and figure out that shit. That would be amazing. What, if I leave you guys alone with Tarn for 5 minutes? Hold on a second. Gotta check my plants. Just 11,000 built blocks. I have 40 pigtails. Chat would just make cobalt noises at him. I'm going to be muting all the sounds and notifications, so. Or will it be about something in particular? The last one I did was just kind of, I don't know if you watched the one I did back in June. It's up on YouTube if you want to go watch it. So you can actually go watch that before this one starts. It's only an hour 10, I think. I have a lot. I mean, I polled the community for questions via a Google form, and just kind of pooled together the combinations of the most asked questions, and threw in a few of my own. It's kind of in two parts. I've got a bunch of questions about Steam-related things, usability-related things, and I also have a bunch of questions that are just kind of general. Someone asked like 5 questions about Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, which confuses me. I'm assuming it was one person because it had the very, very similar intonation. Plexing to me. Well, I mean, maybe they're actually done melting all these. No, man, they're efficient. You asked one about that? Were you the favorite artifact, or were you the list of ones? Because there was a what's your favorite artifact in Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, then a bunch of other questions, and then the next day there was like 5 more questions about Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup that all came in at the same time. I was like, what the fuck? I know stuff about DF Steam. I know everything that you could potentially know. All of the information that I have about DF Steam is publicly available. I'm good at aggregating it. Because I am a nerd for a living. Who doesn't go outside? Please don't be like me. Go outside. Have friends. Delete your Facebook. What? Yeah, no, it's, anything about multi-core CPU support? I will say what I said a second ago. I know everything that you know. I'm just better at aggravating information than most people. I can recite what Tarn has said on previous interviews about that. Because that would take a very, very, very long time. You can use the first core and then switch to the second core and then use the third. Bad news, then? Define bad news. I think y'all just need to produce less items, damn it. I mean, I was in a stream the other night, and the streamer was complaining about frame rate problems. I asked to see the guy's inventory, right? Guy had like 70,000 fucking crafts. You wonder why your performance is bad. Every dwarf is running around with like 250 crafts on. No shit, your frame rate's bad. Also, most of them were made of metals. So of course your dwarves are going to be slow because they're running around covered in fucking copper. Christ. Anyway, overproduction I think is the bigger problem. Is a lot of people don't entirely know how to manage it. Some people know how to manage it and willingly mismanage it, which is fine. But there's a lot of people who genuinely don't know how to manage item counts in the game. Anything happened while you wasn't looking? Nothing notable. I just melted all of my metal items that needed to be melted really fucking fast. I'm trying to use up these mudstone blocks that appeared. Although I could make more walkways. We should do that. Oh, I don't know if you were here for it, but Sui got married. Sui and Hot Cup of Tea are now married. Adorable dwarven couple. Second generation in the fort. I don't know. I think the thing that a lot of people need to realize, and like it's the same thing that I always say to people who ask, will the Steam version have like actual animations instead of just like individual sprites not moving, going dunk, 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 dunk? Because there's some people who seem to think that the Steam version is going to look like fucking Prison Architect or something. And it's like, you need to realize how old this game is and what this game is built on and the limitations that you get with that. Did I finish my iron roads? I ran out of iron. I started smelting more. How much iron do I have? 915. I could make some more iron roads, but one thing at a time. Also, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on this before I forget again. Where did my nice go? There it is. But yeah, no, it's not even a matter of like, will it ever happen? It's like, there's a lot of things that people want for Dwarf Fortress that I just aren't possible. It's the reality of the game. And it's... Tarn said this on an interview. I can't remember exactly where it was. Actually, I think it was the roguelike celebration a couple of years ago when he was talking about myths and magic. People don't come to Dwarf Fortress for a polished experience. People come to Dwarf Fortress because it's the only game like it. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that. So we can make multi-core DF. I mean, if they were given... I genuinely wonder... This will never happen. But, like, I genuinely wonder if Tarn Adams had $1 billion and could hire as many programmers as he wanted and have, like, infinite help working on Dwarf Fortress, I wonder how long it would take for, like, a full-size AAA development team to rewrite Dwarf Fortress. I do genuinely wonder that. That's not possible. It's not possible with one developer. Yes. But even with 10 developers,
for everyone!
It's still not possible. Does it need to be, though? Saffron? And sold as DLC? I think that you're misjudging the people that make Dwarf Fortress if you say that. Like, or are you talking about, like, in the if they had unlimited money situation? Well-timed mouth sounds? I was thinking. But no. Dwarf Fortress development doesn't... Here's the thing. That's not what I was suggesting, Sergeant Saffron. Right? That's not what I was suggesting. You missed the point. Was super well timed with the music. Oh, I guess I need to turn it up. Welcome back, Randall. What I was suggesting was, it was a purely academical question of how long would it take them to finish it if they had unlimited monkeys working on the project, basically. That's all. It sounded like a fart sound to me, but I don't know what. But okay. Yeah, exactly. If Tarn had the budget of a AAA studio, how long would it take him and 100 other programmers to rewrite the whole game. I don't think he would, but it's an interesting question to ask. That's all. And, you know, like, another thing that I'm not including in the interview that I got asked a lot was, like, do you ever get burned out? And Tarn's talked about this a number of times. The reason, like, how do you get bored of something that just requires more research, right? If you just like learning and you're entertained by learning, how can you ever get bored of learning? And that's all Dwarf Fortress is. It's learning, right? You add plants. Okay, let's read about plants for 6 weeks. You know, it's... How do you get bored of learning stuff? How many losses did you have? Do you have a picture of the carnage? I would love to see that. Stone. I love it when fire-breathing titans set themselves on fire. It's like, you did this to yourself! Is they gonna be like Star Citizen? Here's the thing, you know, people still hate on Star Citizen, rightfully so, I think, because I think their business model is garbage. But, like, Star Citizen's getting done. It's just taking a while. And for the absurdity of that game, they're doing it right. You know, they're not developing it in Silicon Valley. They're developing it in countries with cheaper rent. They are very active on their social media and constantly telling the people that dump buckets of money on them what they're doing and keep people up to date. Like, they do a good job of that. And I realize that they get a lot of hate, and I personally think that their business model is horseshit, but, like, I don't know, like, they all horseshit, but they doing it right. Best they can. Elite Dangerous? I mean, I haven't played Elite Dangerous in, like, 2 years. I love Elite Dangerous, but I hate Elite Dangerous. I love Elite Dangerous because it is the best float around in space, look at pretty planets simulator I've ever played, which means I love it. It also has great flight mechanics, which is awesome. I dislike what the community wants out of that game, and I dislike what the developer is doing with that game, and I dislike the direction the developer is going with that game and is continuing to go with that game because I don't want an MMO. I never want an MMO, and I will never want an MMO. There's holes in this. Huh. Interesting. I dislike MMOs. If you watch my streams a lot, you'll know I really dislike MMOs, and probably will always really dislike MMOs. So the fact that so much development time and focus is on live in-world events and not just like making the experience better for the player means I have almost no staying power with it. As much as I enjoy it, it's a multiplayer game first. And it's great if you like playing games with other people. I don't like playing games with other people unless it's like short sessions for like a small co-op game or something. I don't like playing games that depend on other people, and that game certainly depends on other people. Yeah, I mean, same. I mean, I enjoyed Elite for, like, what, 400 hours, which is plenty of time. But, like, I wish it was a single-player game. And for me, like, Star Citizen's going to have exact same problems. Dual Universe is going to have the exact same problems. All of those space games are going to have the exact same problems because they're focused on playing games with other people, not games by yourself. Doesn't matter. If 61, that's not bad. A baby was born during the fight. Perfect. That's not too bad. You can recover that. No, totally. They don't force you to play it open, which is why I got as much time out of it as I did. Hey, Lund. I enjoyed being a intergalactic space hippie floating around in the middle of goddamn nowhere, sending messages back to the bubble from, like, the far reaches of black space in my Asp Explorer. I enjoyed that for, like, 500 hours, and then I ran out of shit to do. Let's have a look at this. Screenshot from Stone's game. I'm assuming that red. I see. There it is. Ooh, that's a lot of dead. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, I mean, all things considered, you killed the Petrosaur. But that P was not nice. No, it was definitely a big P. Good job, though. Also, it is time for the annual tribute from the Realms of Stone, who this time have brought a horse for their tribute. I like the Confederacy of the human civilization, the Confederacy of Sport just brings, they just carry their tribute, whereas the Realms of Stone, they bring it on an animal. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, Brosifer, is like, it's like, okay, I'm legally blind, right? And my vision is getting worse every year. Once every couple of streams, somebody points out something that could help fix my vision, or like eating something that could make my eyes healthier, or a certain surgery, which generally isn't even remotely related to the problems with my eyes because it's oddly specific. People like to try and help, right? You're pointing out problems that could be easily fixed in code that you've never seen, that's written by one dude that is borderline incomprehensible to a normal person. In a game that is bonkers complicated, that's been in development for over a decade. Do you really know what's an easy to fix problem? Not judging your knowledge, it's just there's probably factors that you're not aware of, right? Which is why I hesitate to suggest things that should be fixed as, especially framing them as easy. It's better to say something like, is this possible, even? Because we don't know. All right, let's see what the Realms of Stone brought us. From the Council of Men in the autumn of 64. 5 asparagus, 5 rhubarbs, 1 sheep wool rope, 1 copper toy hammer, 5 strawberries, an iron anvil, a maple splint, a large green glass gem, 1 llama wool fur bag, and 10 hemp flour. Delicious. Yeah, like, we don't know. Fair enough. Like, that is definitely fair perspective, Brosifer, but, like, you say in a relatively short time without a full rewrite. Unless you've seen his code, can you genuinely say in a relatively short period of time? I don't know. The only skill I have to do with this shit is talking to people, so I'm a complete and utter moron when it comes to actual programming. I took an HTML class once. That was fun. I learned a little bit of Python once. So I don't know. I ain't no expert on this shit. Don't pretend to be. But I just assume that everything is as complicated as Tarn says it is and just believe him on fact. Because he knows what he's talking about. I don't. And yeah, that was my fault. I put the word in your mouth that you said it was easy. I take short period of time, relatively short period of time to mean easy. So, I don't know. Regardless, I do have a question, which is let's talk about performance and see if there are any enhancements that are being made for Steam and whether or not the tile sets is going to impact performance. Because I don't know about you guys, but I certainly fucking noticed that graphical tile sets currently cause performance issues. Like, one of the reasons, like, I had so many people tell me to use Space Fox tile set, and I installed it and messed around with it for 5 minutes and uninstalled it because of how bad that thing ran. It's a modified version of Krug Smash's tile set. And the dwarves are here to trade? Wait, what? Oh, good. Mistum has arrived. I'd be very sad if my Trusty Outpost liaison didn't show up. You know, we'll just do the cheaty thing. Because I don't really have much trading stuff right now. I mean, the 20-core CPU is not going to matter. What's going to matter is the speed of the first core, right? So what you want is really high single-core speed versus lots of cores. Lots of cores aren't going to help you. And Dwarf Fortress never uses that much RAM. Like, I have a lot of people talking about how, oh, I have a ton of RAM. Dwarf Fortress should be fine. It's like, Dwarf Fortress never uses more than a gig of RAM. Like, realistically, like, maybe when you're generating a world, if you're trying to generate, like, a 3,000-year-old world or something dumb, yeah, it'll use a lot of RAM. But outside of that, it really doesn't use RAM. What CPU are you running? Out of curiosity? But yeah, I use a modified version of Krug Smash's tile set specifically because a lot of people come over to Twitch after new Krug Smash videos come out, and I like them to see something familiar. Also, it's kind of a happy medium between what I prefer, which is more ASCII, and fancy stuff, so. Yeah, you gotta hype that threading, you know what I'm saying? Until i9 on 90X. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I know very little about i9s. My name is Mistum. Been 50-something years, and I'm still your liaison from the mountain homes. I'm waiting for this dwarf to die. One day, this dwarf is just not going to show up. Why the tile set looked familiar? Yeah, I like it to be familiar, you know, and I actually talked to Krugs about it. And he thinks that it's kind of a neat thing that, especially like with fucking NoClip making that interview with Tarn and putting it up using only Krug Smash's tile set. Like a lot of people, when they think of Dwarf Fortress now, they think of this. You got your popcorn? I mean, maybe don't make it for like another hour and a bit. There is much to share. We have updated your maps. Ooh. Requests do you have of our merchants? I'm going to ask for the same thing I've asked for the last couple of years, which might seem strange. I'm trying to not piss off the elves because I don't want to go to war if I don't need to. So just bring me charcoal, please. You have finalized the import agreement? They want battle axes? Ooh, they want prepared meals while they're getting that. I look forward to our meeting next year. As always, our fortunes rise and fall together. How you doing, Picture Point, though? For basically the same reason. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I use them. You know, there's this one bloke on Reddit who takes screenshots of fortresses sometimes, and it's just this tile set, except they also use text will be text. And this tile set is beautiful with text will be text turned on. Like, it is gorgeous. Really makes me hope that we'll be able to use the native, like, built-in multi-level viewing on the Steam version and itch.io version with custom tile sets. Really makes me hope that. Also, Picture Point, check this out. We got a new toy. New emote. You can't spot enemies with it. I can, not with the rectangle version, and not on the default colors. The default colors are a little bit harsh for me, but I think that the if you I dull the colors down quite a bit, so they're not as harsh. The color set that I'm using is on the wiki. It's like Easy Eye Care something or another it's called, but it's basically just the default colors with a few things tweaked, and it's like makes stuff a lot dimmer. So it's not nearly as harsh. Wait, hold on a second. Are you reading a book about discovering pulleys? Did we write a book about pulleys? We did. Written on the item is a manual entitled Discovering Pulleys, authored by Max. It concerns the construction and use of the pulley. The writing is fairly cheerful. It gives a feeling of compassion here and there. Overall, it's amateurish at best. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, no, I think the problem with the default colors for me more than anything is the black background. Like, I need more of a gray background. Like, it needs to not just be black. If it's just black, I can't deal. So in about 40 minutes, I will post a heads up thread on the Reddit. In about 40 minutes. But yeah, no, there's a lot of the default colors that are real tough on the eyes. What kind of question is that, Picture Point? I love that there's a dwarf here singing while in a fit of depression. You know, I'm going to put you into the Spotted Silvers because you really want to practice a martial art and you're just kind of lost. Maybe Hobo can teach you the ways of stop being depressed, you twit. Because he clearly figured it out. But I guess to, like, answer the question, of course I've considered it. Am I going to do it? Probably not. Picture Point. Oh, poor Mayor. It's the best kind of singing? Yeah, just like this album. Or, there you go. This album. Somebody freaked me out yesterday. Because we were just talking about music randomly, and I'm like, yeah, and I can't play music that is copyrighted, yada yada, and the only, like, music that I can play that's, you know, is stuff that I have rights to or have permission from the artist, and it's like, well, no Super Unknown then. I'm like, how did you know I owned this? Because this isn't listed anywhere, and I hadn't shown it on stream in ages. Genuinely spooked me out. And I'm still a little weirded out. Like, how did you know that I owned that on tape? Never tried it, but it looks really fun. I have a lot of problems with the development of that game. Specifically, the development direction. Like, people talk about how Dwarf Fortress has feature creep. You ain't seen feature creep until you tried to play CDDA. That game doesn't have feature creep. It has feature bloat. It has features for the sake of features. I would much rather play more Caves of Cud or Hogmind or a game that kind of fits into a similar niche while at the same time with more design direction. I think that there's a lot to be said for design direction. A lot of people talk about how Dwarf Fortress just has, you know, features on features on features on features on features, and it's got a lot of feature creep. Sure, but they all make sense in the logic of the game. Like, it makes sense why you would have, you know, magic in a fantasy game. It makes sense why you would have, I don't know, what's a moods in a fantasy game. It makes sense why you would have different factions, a world that generates. And then CDDA is like, yeah, evil scientists can make cat girls because lol anime. Come on, just... It's kind of the problem with open source games that... Open source games often run into one of two problems. And one of my favorite open source games, OpenTTD, has run into this, where you have two groups of people working on it, right? Group A wants to go in one direction, and Group B wants to go into a different direction, and Group C, which is made of one guy, wants to go in a completely different direction. So what happens is you get different forks of the game, right? That's one problem, because then you end up with like 3 different games that are all basically the same, but have wildly different ideals of what they want to be, which is why you have things like Simutrains, for example. Simutrains is great, by the way. And then with CDDA, you have the problem of, oh yeah, they just put everything in, so you end up with a lot of shit in your post-apocalyptic realistic survival game that, for me, has no place being in a post-apocalyptic survival game. For a lot of people, that's an overwhelmingly positive thing. For me, that's kind of a mixed to negative thing. And I love the idea of open source stuff, but it needs to actually have some sort of governing body that's pushing it in a specific direction in order for it to be comprehensible. Well, not necessarily comprehensible, but I can only suspend my disbelief so much, you know? So yeah, that's kind of my problem with CDDA. Will I play it? Probably eventually, but it's not super high on the list. I'd rather, you know, support a solo dev working on a dream project than that. And there's already people that stream it that are incredibly knowledgeable about it. You know, another good example of feature bloat and forking of the game is Space Station 13. In theory, a fantastic game. Has like 20,000 different versions of it, and they all insist their version is the only real version that's worth playing. Also, there's fucking xenomorphs in it for some reason, so it's... I don't know. Like, I would rather learn Cogmind, or play Stone Soup, or play NetHack. CDDA is just big and popular, that's all. It's great, but... I'd rather play Caves of Cud. It's the Pitchblade Lular. Yeah, we need to make more clothes again. Starts making coffins. Yeah, don't you love it when you're just like, man, I wish I started making coffins sooner? Oopsies. What? Being open source doesn't mean you have to have a picky maintainer, though. Oh, no, totally. DCSS does that fairly well, but just do a little bit of research, or not necessarily research, but like look into some of the random crap that's in CDDA, and you might understand what I'm talking about. Although, of course, all that's a matter of opinion. Some people really like the random crap. It ruins games for me. You know, let's make leather hoods. But Vuza, we'll see you later. And before you do peace out, your dwarf's happy. A little distressed upon retching a miasma. Probably because you left cheese in your own apartment, room, house, place, living space, stuff. But yes, no, community management is a lot of work. And when you have a community that's really big working on a game, it's really difficult to kind of keep everybody, you know. I don't know. I like games with very coherent design. And there's plenty examples of lots of open source games over the years that have been great with that, right? Very coherent design. But there's also lots of examples of games that just kind of go in weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder directions. And it's, you know, when you get takedown requests against your tile set because somebody stole a bunch of materials for it, it's like, maybe like govern a little bit more of what the fuck people are putting in your game. Might not be a terrible plan. You know? God, could you imagine if they added vuvuzelas to Dwarf Fortress and also added noise pollution back in? I mean, the pack-in tile set actually had stuff removed from it, Picture Point, because they got takedown requests from stolen assets that they weren't crediting to the original authors, and then like, I mean, similar stuff has happened to SS13, but like, can't do that. A sonic torture chamber for the elves? I mean, the goal of this fortress is to maintain peace with the elves. Tell me to murder elves on Saturday. We'll definitely murder elves on Saturday. In fact, we're going to start doing that. No, totally. I mean, random crap is how a lot of legendary open source games still exist. Period. It totally is. I personally don't really want to play random crap. I want to play a game with a design structure, which is why I stream Caves of Cud and not Angband. You know? It's why I played... Well, I guess Tome isn't the most coherent mess ever, but... Tome's kind of my limit when it comes to mess. Also, I need to fucking play Tangled Deep. Why haven't I played Tangled Deep yet? That game looks so good. All right, there go the dwarves. I'm trading. I'm looking at the question submissions and seeing that there are really long, complicated questions. I love it when people send them in after I've finalized my list. Bamber!
Give PLZ cryptic beer.
How did I get involved with hallucinating frequency? I founded it. Yeah, it's an Angband fort. Yeah, no, it was Hails from Middle Earth. But no, here's the thing, right? I'm not saying that good things can't come out of it, but I'm much more interested in playing the realistic survival zombie simulator fork of CDDA that people will be playing in 8 years rather than the current iteration of CDDA. Does that make sense? But seriously, Bamboozler, thank you very much for the 10 months. Cheers, man. And Stupid, thanks for gifting a sub out to Nax. One more person resubs, and that's a hype train. But cheers, guys. Thank you so much. Making pigtail tunics. But no, I completely agree. Great things come out of open source messes. But they need to become a mess for a while, and then they need somebody to go fuck it and fork it and make something else out of it before I'm kind of interested in playing it at that point. Like, I don't play Angband, I play Tome. I'd be interested in trying Syl. So, that's... I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not a thing that I'm incredibly interested in playing. I got higher priorities. Other games I like to play more. And I only have so much time in every day, and I'm trying to keep this fortress alive for 1,000 years. So, like, you know. God, there's so much rain. I can't really get them to do any real construction right now because of all of the rain. Also, we're about to run out of boulders again. Basically, all of the boulders in the fort are in those stockpiles over there on the right. That's all of the boulders in the fort right now. Which is wild. How old is the fort now? We are on year 64, which means we are 59 years old. Which means we're almost 6% done. You get me? Okay, cool. I want to, like, kind of make sure that you don't think I'm just talking shit, because I'm not. That's not the goal. How the heck did that end up down there? There is blocks and someone's shoe, I think. What is that? Oh, it's a hood. There is a hood and a set of blocks in my well. What? Okay, guys. But I hope that you're doing well today. I'm losing. Yeah, I mean, it's a crappy hood, but, like, come on. Someone must have dropped it. Yeah. No, I keep waiting for the day that I look into my well and there's a corpse in there. But no, I mean, they must have, like, pathed past it when they were going up to this, which is kind of this is my clothes stockpile, right? I mean, there was one time I had a mare just disappear, right? Never found the mare. And then immediately an elf got elected mayor, and I was like, A weirdly, like, pissy elf that was in the fortress because of, they joined with a performance group. And, I was like, what the fuck? What happened to my mare? I was looking around, couldn't find the mare. I eventually gave up. It's kind of accepted that I had this elf as my mare, and they were kind of pissy, so I figured they'd tantrum and someone would beat them up and they would die or something. I looked at my elf and realized the elf had a kill. The kill was my mare. After closer examination, I found my mare's corpse in my well. The elf fucking pushed my mare during a tantrum into the well. A very well-fed elf. Very fat elf. Anyway, I found that to be very amusing. Murdered my mare and then ran for mayor. You thought he ate him for a second and was laughing so hard? I don't think they can actually do that outside of Legends. Can they actually eat corpses outside of Legends? Although, on the topic of like open source and shit, there is one game that I wish was just open source. This one, because I want to see this game get more. I want to see that game get more. It's so neat for what it is, but it's so bare and empty. And it's such a pity that he put out his final update. And it's like, no! Please work on it more. But like, I get it. People don't work for free. Not everything can get worked on forever. I think they could eat corpses on screen. When you said you couldn't find him, I was frantically opening tabs to see if elves eat people in DF, wondering if they could. No, I mean, he pushed him in my well. Although I've had like tantruming bards and shit show up and try and murder people, which is always entertaining. It really is. And it's so... Ugh. Does this game have pipes? No. There is a really good mod. It's for rope and paper and clothing, is the hemp. There is a pretty good smoking mod, but it does actually weird me out as to why it's not in the game. It's actually something I asked Tarn about last time I had him on. And he more or less just said, it's something we're thinking about, but just kind of haven't gotten around to yet. Is more or less what his response was. I don't know. That's Ultimate Ratio Ray Gum. I really wish could just get this seed, or not the CDDA treatment, the Caves of Cud treatment. I really, really, really wish that somebody would, or that the developer, Mark Johnson, yeah, I wish that he would hire an artist and put it up in early access with a Patreon. It's like, just give it a nice tile set and put that game out, because I want that game. Never gonna get it. But God damn, I want it. I don't even think this game has pipes. I know it has some like random tools that have no uses, like meat cleavers and things, but this poor dwarf. I think this dwarf might die. But maybe you can go train for a bit. Maybe that'll keep you alive. At least he hasn't tantrumed. That'll probably be most of my silver ore, too. That's gonna bring? I mean, I just, okay. Elund, honestly, all I want is I want to be fighting a Forgotten Beast and have a dwarf pull his pipe, like just a random farmer down in the caverns, like collecting webs or something, pull his pipe out of his mouth and throw it at the Forgotten Beast and it go through its eye and pierce the brain, killing it immediately. I want that to happen. And that can't happen without pipes. I once had a dwarf kill a forgotten beast with a rat. Vermin. Like, dead piece of vermin. Picked it up off the ground and threw it at him and just puckered a hole right through his forehead. Just pop. Dead. And in order to have that happen, I need luck. Should probably try it now. I've played it. It's neat. It's really neat what it does, CCX, but like, it's so barren. And like earlier versions of Ultima Ratio has like things in it that the later versions don't. Like, I will never get over the fact that it has an older version of that game had creatures the size of cities. Like, literally, like, oh, it's 8Ds. What's that? Oh, that's a dragon. Oh, wait, no, that's a dragon's foot. Where's its other foot? Like, sheds a single tear. There's so much cool shit out there that just never will see the light of day, really. But that's okay. It's part of the fun of games, right? One fun thing, I've actually had dwarves spontaneously combust. And I know a way to replicate that bug, too. I know exactly what causes it. What about a non-dwarf thing trying to smoke a pipe? I wonder how that's going to work. Bone carving knives, meat cleavers, mortars, and pestles, which are useless if they have a use. It's a lot of those items, like, they have a use. It's you put it on a pedestal, you know? I mean, at least books have some sort of use. I want books to get an overhaul in Dwarf Fortress. And I say that as the person who put a VOD on his YouTube channel today of Caves of Cud, where I literally read a book for 3 hours. And I wonder if anybody's commented on the fact that I literally read a book for 3 hours worth of that VOD. Not yet. No one has said anything about the fact that I read a book for 3 hours of that VOD. Dragon Man has given birth to a girl. Does anybody want to enter the Longdeath Millennium Fortress? Ethsos. She was born today, which makes her very young indeed. She has an older sister and an older brother. Vuzel, the older sister, and Narvicius, the older brother. Was it a good book? It was 3 hours of word salad. It was 62 pages. Well, how about this, Coldfire? Welcome to the fort. She is fat, and her somewhat narrow cobalt eyes are bulging. She has a scratchy voice, and her short hair is neatly combed. Her lips are very thin, and her ears are somewhat narrow. Her nose bridge is somewhat concave, and her hair is ecru, and her skin is sandy taupe, and her nose is somewhat long. She is greatly pleased by her own looks and accomplishments, and she could be considered rude. She sometimes can act without deliberation, and she tends to hang on to grievances. Yeah. I mean, her hair is ecru. It's not... Oh, with combed hair, yeah. I read that as combined. I was like, combined with what? What? I was confused for a second there. That and Caves of Cud's a weird game. It does really well on my YouTube channel compared to other games. Nobody gives a shit about the Stalker VODs, but anyway. She tries to do things correctly each time, and she has a tendency to go it alone without considering the advice of others. She likes to brawl, and she tends to make a small mess with her own possessions. She tends to be passive in discussions, and she can occasionally lose focus on the matter at hand. doesn't focus on material goods, can sometimes act with little determination and confidence. I mean, all dwarves are born with a born with a comb. You bet the elves would grow the better weed, not the humans? No, the elves would just grow the super expensive weed that, like, it's novelty. It's in the shape of a smiley. You know what I mean? Did you somehow disable playing or something? Hold on a second. Let me see. If you hit I and select the zone, it can be made active or inactive. Make sure active is lit up. If it's inactive, they won't use it. That or none of the gods. Dwarves worship the gods of the temples. It's organic. Uh-huh. You know, it's funny. I've had a few really depressed dwarves that have been fixed by just training for like 3 years straight. I could see this dwarf being fixed by just training for 3 years straight. How's the fort doing on this fine day? Our human died, and I'm very sad. But we've had some new additions. 2 new babies. Or a new baby, rather, I think. Yeah, a new baby. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So our human died, and we have a baby. We've been doing some construction, melted down a bunch of stuff, just general industry things, lots of trading. As is usual for the Longdeath Fort, the trade hub of the absolute realm. Well, we have an hour 12 until start time. So I honestly think that right now is probably a pretty good time for me to take a couple-minute break. I need to go do my injections and whatnot and get me lunch. I don't want to do the interview with whacked out blood sugar like last time. Yeah, rip human. I'm gonna miss that human. Syntactagon was a good human. But it's the snowy season and the dwarves are making new clothing, so I will let them continue with that. Chat. Thank you very much to everybody who's here early, everybody who's hanging out. When I get back, I'll be making a Reddit thread about the interview, and yeah, I need to get over my own nerves because I don't know if I do a good job hiding it, but fucking hell, I get nervous with stuff like this. Anyway, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. BRB.
Cheese for everyone!
right. I return. You're done for today? Done with what? Hello, hello. Hi, Ryan. Who's safe? What about a baby crawling around? There's a baby crawling around? Did a baby die? Well, you seem fine.
Many people ask me, Nikita, will we the блин?
Thanks for using all those before the sounds and notifications get turned off for the interview. But hi. Oh, I thought you were talking about orphan baby. Is it a baby or a child? If it's a baby, it's super dead. Unless maybe you force them onto like a food and drinks pile. Because if it's literally just a baby, it will willingly not eat and not drink until it dies. You love it? I'm glad you like it. It's going to get a lot more use. The Encrypt 7, I think. Also, you go outside to get a sandwich? I'll be honest. This is a bit of like city folk culture that I will never fully understand. I'm going to walk to the deli to get a sandwich. It's like, why don't you just have the stuff in your house to make a sandwich? And you'll have a sandwich infinitely faster. And you can put more meat on it. And you don't have to feel bad about asking them to put extra cheese on it. It was a bad joke, but I liked it. I appreciated it. Is it though? It requires you going somewhere. Going somewhere to do a thing is the definition of inconvenience. When in about the same amount of time you could go to the very same place and come back with all the stuff to make the sandwich. Yeah, exactly. Order it from Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats. Gosh. Oh, by the way, I need to mention, when we were talking about advertising earlier, we also mentioned Amazon's The Boys earlier. Amazon's The Boys has the best shitty marketing I've ever seen in my life in it. They will be running a perfectly normal scene, and everybody's talking and doing their fully in character thing, and they'll all tense up and freeze up and go perfectly still for like an awkward half second, and then someone will reach into a bag and offer a fresca to one of the other characters. Just be like, would you like a fresca? And then they always go, oh, thank you. And then there's this very robotic, slow, quiet grabbing of the fresca, takes the fresca, opens the fresca, and starts drinking the fresca in like the perfect like advertising angle. And for some reason, I can't not laugh hysterically at that shit, even though it's like some of the worst fucking garbage marketing I've ever seen. But it's way too goddamn funny to me. Also, I'm fucking shocked by this dwarf. He was utterly haggard by the nightmare that is his tragic life and was constantly depressed and wandering around naked. And now he's perfectly fine. I don't know, man. He fixed. It's crazy. It's wild. And I have hiccups. Also, I don't think I've ever had a fresca, and probably never will. The side note. So, 1 hour until interview. Which means it's time to post a heads up on Reddit. Also, apparently, Cupo's back tonight, according to Reddit. Well, I think I know who I'm rating. For a second there, I thought a dwarf fell into that little pool on the far side. Various world gen settings. Is it possible to add a stress slider embark? I don't know if that would necessarily go into world gen settings and maybe more be like just a global option, but why do you want to turn down stress? Stress isn't a problem. Although I'm like the only person in the world who thinks that stress isn't a problem. So I realize I'm like on a mountain with that. Well, some people need to get good. I don't know, man. My questions list is pretty finalized at this point. I'm not adding anything else in. Okay, we're going with what we got. I already have probably more questions than I can reasonably ask. So stuff like that, which has been kind of like addressed already, doesn't really need to be asked. Also, the annual tribute from Basti Jismak has arrived. The Confederacy of Sport. How do I deal with stress in Dwarf Fortress? In real life, alcohol and weed. In Dwarf Fortress, just give them nice things and give them a break every so often. Not that difficult. Some dwarves are just lost causes. 1 sheep wool head scarf, 1 copper shield, 1 pig leather bag, 1 iron helm, 1 or 5 jaguar sweetbread, and 1 copper pick. I'm just posting a thing on Reddit. But yeah, no, in Dwarf Fortress, it's give them as much things as you can. But yeah, no, you don't see headscarves every day. Okay. We got that done. So this track always, this bit of music that we're listening to always throws me off when it pops up. All right, I think someone has too much clothing. Squog, how many items do you own? Because that room's assigned to you. 131, eh? You need another cabinet? Give you another cabinet. Please put your shit away. But yeah, there's the Reddit thread for the announcement. I can't tell you to upvote it or anything, but it's there if you want it. And now we wait for 1 more hour. Come on, Squig. No, it's like, what the heck's this dwarf got so much of stuff for? Although not, I wonder how many items Rhinestone has, because Rhinestone's dwarf was extremely greedy. 151 items. How about Padinsky, who was also extremely greedy? Great Padinsky was extraordinarily greedy at one point. There you are. Reading about the discovering of pulleys. Oh god, when did that happen? So Great Padinsky's gotten in, on the topic of stress, Great Padinsky's an interesting dwarf. He was fine. Got kind of pissy. Started tantruming. And murdered Anandar in year 16. We put him in prison for 200 days. And he came out totally fine with absolutely no stress. In the year 46, he was in a very similar situation. Started tantruming and murdered Axon. Was put in prison for 200 days and came out with no stress. We're now in the year 65. Early spring. And he's very stressed again. I think he's going to murder someone next year. I'm beginning to sense a pattern. Cold-hearted killer? Yeah. He's discussing government. He's definitely a psychopath. Right? Yeah, no, like every 30 years you just need to get your killing fix on, right? Now it's time to kill again. Who knows? I mean, what do you really want? Like, what's actually upsetting you, Padinsky? You're anxious after discussing government. I feel that. That's a mood right there. Restless after being unable to practice martial art. You want to practice martial art, eh? What squad were you in? Right, yeah, the bear fighters. Haven't had the bear fighters training in a while. All right. Well, let's train the bear fighters. The Bear Fighters is a squad of dwarves that don't get any uniforms or weapons. They're just wrestlers. So they are generally stressed dwarves that want to practice a martial art. Someone got banned every 30 days. But who would die next? Huh. That's a little horrifying. Like something you RP'd in DF, or just like are we talking like D&D type RP? This is another interesting dwarf. Doesn't look like would be that depressed, dejected after a lack of decent meals, but like that's about it. Self-pity after being away from friends. It has no friends. We've been over this. You can't feel self-pity after being away from friends if you have none. Is gripped by crippling shyness. Finds something humorous in everything, no matter how serious or inappropriate. It really sucks when you have a dwarf that's gripped by crippling shyness and they really want friends and want to spend time with friends. The reason that sucks is because they'll never make any friends. It's just like real life. Into a huge fight. Oh no. Protect the baby stone. Also, did the baby survive? Or did the baby die? Fair enough, vegan. Slow to anger, so won't tantrum too much. Narrow focus on the current activity. Calm demeanor, good. Generally quite confident in her abilities. She occasionally overindulges and think, oh, she can handle stress. That's an interesting one. I hope you snap back. Same with Padinsky. I taught dodging. I am satisfied. And he's still a baby. Aw. Congrats on obtaining the sandwich. That was a fast obtain of sandwich. When was the last time they saw a waterfall? In this fortress? Probably never. Because the world started on year 5. Hold on. Did Padinsky already... Oh. Oh, never mind. I'm like, where did Padinsky go? I don't see a second flashing down arrow. That's why. Come on, hang in there, bud. The elves have returned to trade. It's easier said than done. I mean, you could also just expel every tantrumer at that point. It'd be easier than walling them off. We can sell you the green glass cabochon. And a couple bits of clothing that haven't been claimed. Elves need something. And a bit of mayo. So meat, spicy, and the most disgusting condiment in existence. Yep, sounds American. Hope you enjoy it. Well, actually, no, that's ketchup. Second most disgusting condiment in existence. I don't know why you would do that to your internals, but I hope that you survive. I'm excited. I get to chat with Tarn today, and Cupo's streams are coming back. Strayso has given birth to a piglet. A lot of dwarves need gerbs. You know, something we haven't done in a little bit, because I need to restock these rock stockpiles. and find more ore to melt down. Also, I probably have just like a ton of lead again. Yeah, we have a ton of lead. Probably. Where is it? There it is. 210 lead. Let's just say lead statue. And let's say 70. We'll make an existing image. Dwarf admiring his spear. There we go. We need to keep those quarries going, and I need to find more silver ore, and I know there's a lot on this level, so we gonna keep digging. But yeah, another plan that I kind of got for the coming days is because I know we've done a lot of Longdeath, and I know some people are not necessarily getting bored, but like, you know, it's been a lot of Longdeath. During the interview, I'm going to generate large worlds with long history. I'm going to do a couple of history streams, I think. Because I love learning about new worlds. And we haven't done any of those in a while. You know, like generated a world for just Legends and maybe an adventurer. It's been a while since we've done that. So that's one of the other plans for things for the next few days. Or the next week or so. We'll do some more Legends-related things. Do, 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 do. I wonder if Scamps is going to unplug his internet this time. Almost did last time. You love Legends? A lot of people do. Turns out people like listening to me read. Like that one Legends VOD that I put up around the same time the Villains Part 1 came out. Like 7 hours of Legends. Has like a 30% retention rate on the videos. So 30% of the people who watch it make it to the end. And it has over 1,000 views now. It's ridiculous if you think about it. Come all the dwarves with the wheelbarrows to collect the boulders. So that we find more silver. It's ridiculous, Vegan. Some people really like listening to YouTube VODs. I mean, I guess it's like the equivalent of having like a Dwarf Fortress audiobook. I mean, a lot of my VOD statistics are kind of nuts. Why not use branch mining? Because this looks cooler. I dig patterns I like looking at. Straight lines is boring. Circles and curves are fun. Yeah, if you can convince me that straight lines are more fun looking, then I'll dig straight lines. The goal isn't to be efficient. The goal is to enjoy time spent, right? I was trying to be efficient, sure. But I ain't trying to be efficient. I'm just trying to find more silver. And also dig out a lot of boulders while I'm at it. Although I would be really happy if I found, like, olivine or something. That would actually make me really happy. You get so much olivine. You either get a lot of it or none of it. Or cobaltite. Something that's like a pretty color that I could mess about with. But Heck, I'd even take microcline. I found a little bit of microcline, but not a lot. But I'm not going to find any olivine in this layer. It's the wrong kind of stone. We need to go further down to find that. As long as I don't hit the caverns. If I hit caverns, I'm in trouble. That's going to be really, really bad for frame rate. Like, really, really bad for frame. Uh-oh. Wait, what? What did I say? Cilantro is found dead. Great Padinsky is throwing a tantrum. What year is it? Man, he didn't keep the pattern up. Militia captain punches the wrestler in the head with his right hand. An artery has been opened. Oh. Well, the pattern continues. It's his third kill. Padinsky. Padinsky, Padinsky, Padinsky. Question is anybody going to go report the crime? Did anybody report the crime? Not yet. One punch KO. It was more than one punch, but it was certainly a large portion of it was one punch. Wow. Did they just, like, not inform the police anymore? Jeez. Also, this must be a heavy body. Good lord. Yeah, nobody's reporting the crime. It's not like there was nobody in the room. Like, there was a lot of people in the room. We know who did it. Yeah. It was uneasy after seeing Cilantro die and felt sad at somebody's death. Angry while killing somebody. But pleasure during a sparring session. Wants to practice a craft. Jesus. What a hell of a dwarf. Because it was justified? It's not justified if it's a tantrum. Tantrum is murder. But it would at the very least be a minor offense. I don't know why nobody reported it. That's bizarre. Yeah, that's genuinely bizarre. Normally, like, all of the soldiers would go report that crime. Yeah, it's got to be like some sort of like... Oh no, this is gonna get real fast. Policing, what's the word I'm looking for here? Playing favorites? It's almost like our legal system is kind of corrupt, I think. Can we get a round of beers or Bible thumps or whatever's for this poor dwarf that doesn't deserve to die? Because, damn. This poor, poor dwarf. While I install a billion more statues. They're all the same statue, too, which is kind of fun. And there they go. You were a good dwarf. Also a good sudden frame rate lag. Did the moon just roll over? Nope. Not sure what caused that. Something did, though. Wasn't a save. What was that? Weather is cleared. Oh, probably just pathing for the traders leaving. You get a piece of art, and we'll put a door. Or goddamn dwarf. Wonder what kind of art they'll make for you. Oh, I know what caused the pathing problems. Everybody trying to path down the stairs, probably. With all of them statues. That's probably what caused it. Screw engraved a masterpiece. Of course you would, Screw. Been here a while. Engraved on the wall is a masterfully designed image of Salantre. Present busts. The dwarf and a mudstone bracelet by Screw. Salantre is raising the mudstone bracelet. The artwork relates to the masterful mudstone bracelet created by the dwarf Salantre. Present busts for the eternal adventure of time at Longdeath in the midwinter of 34. 30 minutes till interview time to anybody's waiting. Also, looks like tomorrow for Halcyon After Hours, I will be playing Clue with my stream team. Looks like that's what we'll be doing. Suey wants to play Clue, so we'll probably be playing Clue. Nice way to be remembered, with a masterful engraving. I mean, you'll be remembered. Who's going to be the host? Suey is. It's also her 2,000 follower celebration stream. I'm gonna see if I can whip up some bingo cards or something so that you guys can kind of interact alongside of it. I don't know what we'll do if anybody actually gets a bingo, but need to find something to do with it, you know? Man. Okay, who's leaving food in their bedroom? Plump helmet and a muskmelon. I'm looking at you, Padinsky. Speaking of Padinsky, I don't know what to do with him, man. Maybe he's just finally lost it. He's completely oblivious to reality. I'd like to put him back into prison on vacation for a bit. You'd think that would be good for him, but maybe he's finally just completely lost it. I mean, he is a serial killer. He's killed 3 people in the fortress. 3 good dwarves, including the first dwarf in the fortress to write a book. 70 on the dot? Yeah, that is nice. 2 people almost exactly at 70. No, the dwarf did die for a reason. They just won't be justified in their death, you know? He came back. All right, we're going to get the bear fighters fighting again. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, obviously the dwarves are favoring Great Padinsky, so I'm sure he's fine, right? He's fine. He's just going to sleep it off. Nice. Man, he dueled him to the other side of the wall. Also going to turn on the other squads. Vengeful when joining an existing conflict. Is there... Okay, it's Kias that are attacking us. We're under attack by burbs and parrots. Absolutely inconceivable. "30 minutes. I have a problem, chat. I'm almost out of coffee. See how that mining did, if they found any ore. I got distracted by the death. Although I should actually make silver coin. You go in full mod mode? Oh, are you actually going to use like the mod screen and everything? Go full fancy mode? I mean, right now you're still on kind of shit poster extraordinaire mode. Right? That's what most of my mods do. They troll until they actually are needed, and at which point then they're mods. I think Hobo is going to be here at about 15 minutes after things start, because he's at the gym right now, but after the gym, he's coming to come help. Mods are elves? I mean, I don't know. Belug, are you an elf? Belug's French. I think that's like in poor taste if you call him an elf. Well, from Quebec, of course. French-Canadian. I don't know. Belug has much better taste in music than most elves, I think. I mean, one of my head mod is literally named Stoned Hobo. So, like, if my mods aren't trolls, then, you know, they're just the most consistent and funniest of the trolls. But how's things, Clino? Man, today is a beautiful day. We get Cupo returning. I get to talk to Tarn. And I know what caused the technical difficulties last time, and it won't happen this time. Because I have my audio cables set up correctly. You're more a Hobbit, but Costco format? Wait, hold on a second. What? What's a Costco formatted Hobbit? I need to know. Yay, we found more silver. More ore! Although we still had a little bit left, but that's basically all we had left up top there. Hello, Stylish Obo from Reddit. 25 minutes until things get started. Assuming everything rolls on schedule. Although in about at 10 probably, I'll back out to the main menu and prep things on my end and get all ready. Also, I had to read that twice to figure out, or to realize, before I realized there was a typo in that, and I really like that typo. Dwarf Fortress is much like unspooling a ball of yarn, you know? I am too excited for the yarn interview. Yep. It's fine. Matt, now try and type in Twitch names while on a phone. It's like, these names aren't real. Like one of my teammates, Bellinair, I used to have a tendency to watch him from bed because he used to start his stream up while I was still asleep, right? Or just when I was waking up. And he would... I would go to type in Bellinair to like say hello, and my phone would always autocorrect it to balloon or billionaire, one of the two. So I ended up adding him to my contacts list on my phone without a phone number, so that it would autocorrect to the right thing. Because if you add a word into your contacts, it assumes it's a name. All right, jobs are queued. How are them Kias doing? Most of them are dead, it's fine. Ordered a pizza. I'm glad I'm making everybody's day. Cheers. Glad I could help. I mean, that's fair because Belug's whole shtick is he's a beluga, I think. He's got... like his profile picture is a beluga, for example. So it's not too far off. Giant sponge. There was giant sponges on one of my other forts, but I had to retire it, unfortunately. I remember seeing a screenshot of somebody who... I saw a screenshot of somebody who'd made a tile set that made giant sponges into SpongeBob SquarePants, and it made me weirdly happy. Giant sponge man. Up, 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 up. That's something I've only ever seen in screenshots or sponge people. All right, audio's coming back. Audio was down into purple. How about Pedinsky? Ooh, we still in red. What, Spongeman or SpongeBob SquarePants? Because yes, SpongeBob SquarePants is terrifying. D minus 20 minutes indeed, yep. Right now, I'm more on the Crypt D side of Crypt Pog. Having massive SpongeBob's climbing around. I mean, if I was in a similar situation to Ghostbusters and I got to choose the form of the Destructor, it would probably be SpongeBob SquarePants. My personal opinion on the graphics update? I think it's probably the most important thing they've ever done. Where are you? Royal treasure has arrived, and I don't know where on the screen it is, but they're here, so. As well as a caravan that has come to trade, which is at the other end of the screen, which is fine. Yeah, I think it's the most important update they've ever put out. I think it's huge just for games in general, and a massive opportunity for many people who either don't have the time or the interest, I guess, into... I'm going to get rid of tools, because I got a lot of random-ass tools in here that I don't need. Granted, I need, like, wheelbarrows and stuff, but I don't need a lot of this stuff, so we're just going to kind of do some garbage day stuff with these humans. I don't have a... Like, there's a lot of people out there that will never learn Dwarf Fortress purely because of the fact that they're intimidated by it. And I think that it's amazing that they are opening it up to so many more people. I think that it would be a massive shame if they miss out on a lot of accessibility features that you get from adding graphics to a game like this. So I'm really hoping that it comes with, things like scalable UI and colorblind options, as well as audio cues for more visually impaired people. Like, I think about this sort of stuff because I myself am visually impaired, so I'm very conscious of how playable things are for people that can't see so well. Yeah, that sort of stuff. I think it's one of the biggest opportunities for the games industry as a whole ever. And I think that if Dwarf Fortress comes out on Steam and is very successful, I think it's going to set a precedent for visually simple games. Like, yeah, there are visually simple games out there already that are very successful. Like, look at Grand Strategy or 4X titles. There's plenty out there. But Dwarf Fortress is more than just visually simple. So, I'm extremely excited, is my personal opinion on the graphics update. But I also hope that Dwarf Fortress maintains what it has already without losing it. All right. Wagon Coaster Tycoon? I mean, now that you mention it, yeah, kinda. It's a very, very precarious ramp they have to take down into the fortress, isn't it? Oh, right. Never mind. I don't want to trade any of this. I'm also trading all of my books, which I don't want to do. I do, however, want to vent all my pots, so I don't know what I'm going to do. It's fine. I'll just be a little bit more picky. Did I just set everything to be traded? I think I did. Okay, that's what I want to turn off, is this. These can all be traded, though. That's fine. Don't need any of those sheets. I'm just trying to get rid of garbage. Looking for quires. Although all my first editions of all my books are stored safe, so yeah, we're good. If you hit Shift D, capital D, it'll like all the green areas are areas that wagons can access, and all the red areas are areas they can't. So it'll give you a very good example of like where they can actually go. Although it is kind of hard on the eyes after a bit, so this is all the way out to the outside. There's large chunks that are like blocked due to trees and whatnot, but as long as there's a single square of green, they're good. So you can keep very close track of what they can and cannot do. We're gonna go eat. All right, we gotta do. We're just gonna finish trading with these humans. And then we're gonna get started. Well, I'm gonna start my prep, which is gonna primarily be getting water and then check my blood sugar. Meanwhile, Padinsky's still gone mad. I don't need to sell you all of my goblets. There's some stuff in here I don't actually want to sell, so. Yeah, and use that while you can. All right, and the other people. Whole bunch of clothing. Don't need to sell all the good stuff. The iron buckets. Don't need to sell those. Really need to sell all the sheets. Screw it. We'll sell the clothing. I can always make more. Except for the one that I accidentally shut off. And there we go, humans. And that's it. All right. So today we had a couple of deaths. Padinsky has finally gone completely mad after writing many books. A few new children. A bunch of mining got done. We did some work on the outer wall. Pretty productive day overall. All right, it's time for me to go prep on my end. And I'll be back in a minute or so. Just gonna go check my blood sugar and grab me some water, because I'm almost out of coffee and I don't want to run out of liquids.
See how he bites off the shell to get at the nut?
Interview is gonna be done with my camera off and chat on the screen, and I'm just going to generate worlds in the background. Thanks, Zombie Giant Sponge. Your name does genuinely terrify me, though.